The first Sonic Frontiers update was released way back on March 23rd, and the main thing I was looking forward to was the addition of the Jukebox, a way to listen to some of our favorite songs all across Sonic's legacy, akin to how Generations handled it. We even got to go on a scavenger hunt to find music notes to expand our mixtape, and most importantly, it gave us an actual reason to revisit and explore the 4th island. It was all a blast. My biggest hope for the next 2 updates is that they will keep expanding the Jukebox, and with the release of the Sonic's Birthday Bash update, you do not know how pleased and overjoyed I was to find more music notes on the island, even if they're only from Frontiers this time. There's definitely a lot to choose from this exquisitely tasty collection, but at the same time, we're kinda missing some important songs. So just for funsies, I'm making a list of songs that I think should eventually be part of the Jukebox. It's gonna be a combination of songs that deserve to be in the game, and a handful that I just really enjoy. First, I'm going to add songs to the soundtracks that are already in the Jukebox, then soundtracks that have a decent chance of making it into the Jukebox, and just for the hell of it, soundtracks that practically have zero shot of making it in, but I will be a very happy person if they get some representation. There's one restriction though. I can only choose a maximum of 5 songs per soundtrack. Let's face it, I'd be here all day explaining why every song in Sonic's history should be here. Also, while I absolutely adore the birthday playlist, I'm gonna pretend it doesn't exist. Look, the selection is phenomenal, but we can't actually choose any of those songs. We gotta wait for it to cycle to the one that we want in order to listen to it. They're not really part of the Jukebox. I feel like I need to make this abundantly clear. If none of these get added to the final update, hey, that is totally fine. It's not the end of the world. This is just a cute little wish list. Alright, with all the intro stuff out of the way, let's begin with the soundtracks that are already in the game. In order of release, we start with Sonic CD. We already have Palm Tree Panic present Japanese and Stardust Speedway present US. You know, the rules said I could only add 5 songs per soundtrack, and Sonic CD has 2 soundtracks. We get to talk about a little more Sonic stuff on here. Truth be told, I was never really that keen on either of these soundtracks, so I actually put up a community post a few months back asking for some help on this. Everyone who participated, thank y'all very much. Really, I was able to narrow down the choices much more easily. Because of y'all's choices, I decided to add Cosmic Eternity, Believe in Yourself, the vocal song. I have never heard of this in my life, and I am so glad I did the community post because I don't think I would have ever found out about this. It feels just so old school, and I love it. Title Tempest Present, it's my personal favorite. It's like weirdly mystifying. It kinda sounds like somebody's whispering to me. I think it would be very fitting for the Starfall Islands. Quartz Quadrant Present. I don't have much to say about it, it is just an energetic bop. Stardust Speedway. Honestly, any of them, or all of them, they're just unbelievably funky. The Good Future for Metallic Madness, I know isn't that popular amongst people, but it just sounds like, hey, good job, buddy, you did it. Like, you just beat the game or something. I could see this one being added to the new island for the 3rd update. Now for the US soundtrack, let's get the obvious one out of the way. Sonic Boom, it's just iconic, there's no reason not to put it. Title Tempest's Bad Future is foreboding, but at the same time, almost calming. Kinda feels like the Starfall Islands again. Wacky Workbench is just stupidly groovy. I love this one. And Stardust Speedway Bad Future. You know, one of Metal Sonic's themes. I don't know, it kinda sounds determined. I like it. Next in the order is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Again, I wasn't really knowledgeable on this one, so I got some help from the community post again. Thank y'all, you're all wonderful. And again, Sonic 3 is one game, and Sonic and Knuckles is another game. Both with their own soundtracks. We could talk about one and then the other, and not both of them at the same time, know what I'm saying? From the first of the two, we already have Angel Island. We chose Marble Zone Act 1. Again, really glad I did this post because I completely forgot how much of an absolute bop this one is. Ice Cap Act 1. It is cool. Pun entirely intended. Also, there is a shocking lack of ice and snow music in the jukebox. Let's add a few in there. Hydrocity Act 2. I'm gonna be honest, this one really doesn't speak to me, but I know for sure that this is a big people pleaser, so we need to add it. And weirdly enough, I actually got a couple of people suggest Endless Mine from the multiplayer. Yeah, sure, I can put this one in the video. I like a few oddball choices. There's like specific parts in it that sound like City Escape for some reason. Then for Ann Knuckles, we have Mushroom Hill and Sky Sanctuary. For this one, we decided to add Carnival Night. I like how it sounds like a rundown amusement park, and coincidentally, it also sounds incredibly taunting. Death Egg Act 2 is incredibly iconic and also just incredibly catchy. Not much else to say. And Doomsday Zone. Okay, so just imagine running around the islands listening to one of the relaxing songs when all of a sudden... I don't know, it seems like kinda comical. It's just like a intense moodle ship. I would like to see that happen. Up next, we have Sonic Adventure. We already have Open Your Heart, It Doesn't Matter, Emerald Coast, Azure Blue World, Red Mountain, A Symbol of Thrill, and Mystic Ruin. The first thing I think we should add is another vocal song. Honestly, any of them are good choices, but the one I would go with is Unknown from Me, specifically just because of the memes. Twinkle Park Pleasure Castle. It's my favorite level and probably also my favorite song. I would like to see it get some love. Windy Valley, Windy Hill, and the Air is just iconic, and it's also kind of encouraging, like, it's telling me, yeah, you could do this! Final Egg Mechanical Resonance. You know what this one is? This one sounds like when Eggman just brainstormed the perfect plan to destroy the blue nuisance, like he is overconfident that it's going to work this time. It's just a bop and a half. I love it. This last one might be a little too far-fetched. The Chow Garden theme. I could be wrong, but I am like 90% sure that the ancients eventually become Chow, so I think that connection works well with this. And now I want a Cocoa Garden. Well, it's okay if it doesn't happen. The sequel, Sonic Adventure 2, has Live and Learn, City Escape, Green Forest, and Dry Lagoon. Again, I propose another vocal song. I would choose the It Doesn't Matter cover, that's just my cup of tea, but I think we all know the correct choice is Eggman's theme. That would have the fans absolutely roaring. Metal Harbor is iconic and energetic. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about it. I wanted to put a Tails level in this too, and I think Prison Lane slaps the hardest. And for the Knuckles level, Pumpkin Hill. It's for the memes. I only picked it for the memes. And Skyrail. There's already a cyberspace level based off of this one, so I think that would be a neat nudge to that. Next is Sonic Heroes. We have Sonic Heroes, the main theme, Seaside Hill, Ocean Palace, and Frog Forest. Casino Park is wonderfully cute. It's as playful as a child's imagination. I think we should put Mystic Mansion in the mix. It's literally a haunted rave. What is not to love about that? Egg Fleet is just raw power. I don't know how else to explain it. Final Fortress has a really nice finale feel to it. If this actually does make it in, it should be found in Ranos. And of course, we can't forget What I'm Made Of. I'm gonna say it, it's the best final boss theme of the entire series. I'm honestly impressed it hasn't made it into Smash Bros. Yet. Now for the black sheep of Sonic games, 06. It's got Wave Ocean, Water's Edge, Dusty Desert, Quicksand, Kingdom Valley, Wind, the Results music, and, interestingly enough, the E3 version of His World. Let's get the original His World in this. That's an obvious choice. Also, fun story, my friend, who does not play Sonic games, says, and I quote, "Goddamn, this song does not have to go as hard as it did." And he has it on Spotify. That is how powerful this song is. I think it is a must-have. Honestly, I think one of the hub themes should be in this. And I don't know which one to choose. I mean, Soliana Forest makes the most sense to be added, but original Soliana is just so pleasant, and Soliana New City has a spunky kick to it. I don't know, they all seem really good choices. I think I'm gonna go with normal Soliana. Tropical Jungle, the Jungle. It's not really a favorite of mine, or anybody's really, but it's a very pretty melody. I think it would go well with Frontier's landscapes. Aquatic-based level 1 matches the somber, mysterious tone of the game. I could also see this working well in one of the cyberspace levels. Also, all of the variations of End of the World. It's got a sense of dread and hopelessness, and oh my god, it's just so mesmerizing. We could also put this in the 4th island. You know, the one where Sonic basically dies. The first storybook game, Sonic and the Secret Rings, has 2. 7 Rings in Hand and Sand Oasis / Let the Speed Mend It. This one I'm only adding 3. The first one being Evil Foundry / The Palace That Was Found. This one really doesn't speak to me, but I know it speaks to everyone else. There's a good reason why Mania used this for his intro. High and Broken from Levitated Ruins. I think it gives off, like, a majestic feeling of persistency, like being strong-willed, not giving up despite having the odds against you. I mean, it basically describes Sonic the entire game, like Sage telling him to leave and, like, the entire corruption thing. I think it would go well. And my personal choice, Unawakened Float.
Oh my goodness, this one has been slept on by every single one of you. This is the hardest Sonic song I've ever had the pleasure of gracing upon my eardrums. The vocals and the instrumentals are just so powerful. This shit hits me like a goddamn truck every time I hear it. Oh man, no wonder they saved this one for the final level. Sonic Unleashed. We have the World Adventure from the main menu, and from the stages we have Windmill Isles, Savannah Citadel, and Arid Sands, all of which are from the daytime. Let's add 3 more stages. First, Cool Edge during the day. Again, the Jukebox has no ice level themes, and also, it's chill. There's your second ice pun for the video. I think we should throw the Werehog a bone. I propose Rooftop Run. It manages to be both relaxing and sneaky at the same time. It's very interesting. Eggman Land is one of the most memorable stages of the entire series because of how, frustratingly brutal it is. So yeah, I think we should also put it in the Jukebox. The hubs in Unleashed have some of the most lovely pieces of music I've ever heard in a video game. Spagonia Night is so calming that it legitimately helps me sleep. This last one is an obvious choice, Endless Possibility. Look, I know licensing can be a bit of an issue, but this is objectively and canonically the best Sonic song ever conceived. And this is coming from someone who isn't really a big fan of the song. Next, we have the secret goat of Sonic games, Sonic and the Black Knight. With it came Night of the Wind, Misty Lake, and Deep Woods. I will suggest Titanic Plain. It sounds like an open field. Well, it is an open field, and in Frontiers, we run around in open fields. Molten Mine is a heroically badass song. This one in particular would make me very happy. I'm gonna put Shrouded Forest in this, solely because it sounds like the Rise of Lyric soundtrack, and parts of Frontiers reminds me of Rise of Lyric. The main menu music, also called the Ash Grove, is just a very mellow tune. It's very simple, but also very, very nice. And the name entry music. I know this one is coming way out of left field, but I kid you not, despite being only 30 seconds long, it is absolutely gorgeous for literally no reason! Surprisingly, the original Sonic Colors only has 2 songs in this. The theme of Sonic Colors, which is the main menu, and Planet Wisp. Since Colors Ultimate has the recolored version of Reach for the Stars, let's choose the other song, Speak With Your Heart. If you think about it, it's kinda like a song for Sage, cause she's trying to understand emotions and, well, learning to speak with her heart. Tropical Resort. You know, it gives some of us that sense of nostalgia, myself included. Yeah, it's kind of all I got for it. Sweet Mountain is a bombastic Mardi Gras parade, and what a grand opening it has. And Aquarium Park. Honestly, I'm really impressed this one didn't make the cut. I thought this was, like, the first good water level in existence. Plus, it's got some banging beats, you know? Next is the big birthday celebration, Sonic Generations. It came with Sky Sanctuary, Speed Highway, Rooftop Run, and, surprisingly, Emerald Coast from the 3DS version. And, unsurprisingly, all of them are from the modern stages. So let's put Classic Sonic in the spotlight. I would choose his City Escape just for being one of the funkiest remixes of the entire game, and his Rooftop Run, which honestly I would argue is the best song of the entire game. Crisis City, honestly either version would be sufficient. One of them sounds like fast-paced action while the second one sounds like the Olympics. Let's have the modern mix, since it manages to naturally feature all 4 of the variations from 06. Since we have a 3DS song in the jukebox, I think we should have a second 3DS song. Modern Casino Night is just very jazzy and classy, like it's actual big band in the casino. It's absolutely marvelous. And the last one, I know it will never happen, but the White Space Melody. You know, basically all the hub themes. The short little snippets we hear are just so charming and catchy and cute. I love all of them so much. It's like a little celebration of Sonic. Something that caught me off guard was that Sonic Lost World managed to squeeze out 4. Wonder World, Windy Hill, Desert Ruins, and Sky Road Act 2/Dragon Dance. I have to immediately point out Sea-Bottom Segway for being absent from the jukebox. I always saw this one as like the second in the Sonic Lost World soundtrack hierarchy. Like back when I was watching the live symphony orchestra, Windy Hill came on and I immediately thought, okay, Sea-Bottom Segway is coming up right after this, and I was correct. It just feels weird not having this in yet. Juice Archipelago is a fun and lively song. It's one of the more energetic ones. I could kind of see myself dancing to this. Frozen Factory flawlessly captures the Winter Wonderland vibe. It's cutesy, magical, wondrous, wonderful. In Frontiers, we are technically on some Island Relics, so I would volunteer Island Relics as tribute. Plus, honestly, I don't think this one gets that much attention. It sounds natural? Tribal? I think that's the word I'm looking for. Hidden World is so electrically entertaining and bouncy and just fun. I could imagine people bopping to this at the disco. The game that single-handedly brought the franchise back, Sonic Mania. It gave us Stardust Speedway, Flying Battery, Mirage Saloon, and Lava Reef. You know, after I collected all the music notes, I thought, wait, where is Studiopolis? That is the Sonic Mania song of all time. Well, it turns out they were saving it for the birthday playlist. And the same remix of Palm Tree Panic is in both the playlist and the jukebox. I think this one can be in both. Oil Ocean. I got nothing, it's just my favorite version of Oil Ocean. Press Garden Act 2. How can I explain this one? It's very elegant and luxurious. Like, beautiful, really. Titanic Monarch Act 2. This bleak and sinister track will set the mood perfectly when Sonic explores the 4th island for the first time. And finally, Blue Spheres.
Now, the average Sonic completionist would have an uncomfortable flashback when they hear this. Me, on the other hand, I quite enjoy bathing in my own pain and suffering, so I'm quite fond of this one. Sonic forces me to tell you that we have Fist Bump, Aqua Road, This Is Our World, Phase 2, and Arsenal Pyramid. When I found out that last one was in this, I got so excited because it's one of my favorites. And then when I started listening to it, I realized they chose the exterior music, which, honestly, not really a big fan of. The interior is the one that caught my attention. It's literal dubstep in a Sonic game. It's one of the few video game songs I would unironically recommend at a club. That is how good I think it is. The overall use of the synths in Sonic stages I think fits the cyberspace theming very well. Eggate and Luminous Force slaps my face the hardest, so they will be drafted to the Jukebox. Personally, I always thought Park Avenue was the best of the Avatar songs. I mean, they released it on YouTube before the game even came out. They probably did that for a good reason, you know? Lastly, Red Gate Bridge, which is probably the most forgettable song from Forces. Not because it's bad or anything, but because it gets to play for like 10 seconds before being rudely interrupted. Twice! And what we missed out on was a very alluring arrangement. I think we should give it a little bit of justice by putting it in the jukebox. Sonic Colors Ultimate kinda just glossed over me. I'm also very inept with this one, so again, I got some more help from the community post. Thank y'all very much. Ultimate already has Reach for the Stars, Recolors, and Asteroid Coaster. With y'all's help, I was able to narrow it down to Tropical Resort, specifically Act 2. I cannot fathom how, bouncy and cutesy it is. It's just so... I love it. Starlight Carnival. They took a very festive song and just went all out on the rock and roll. Whoever's playing that guitar, keep it up. You're gonna go places. And Terminal Velocity. I don't know how they did it, but they took the original song and just multiplied it by 5. I have no idea how else to explain it. And coming up is our final stop, Sonic Frontiers. It has I'm Here, and recently most of the island themes just got added. So for this one, I just decided to choose my favorite cyberspace level from each island. They are 1-2, Flowing. Definitely the most memorable one, especially trying to get that gosh-forsaken S rank, oh my goodness. Why was that the only difficult one? 2-4, Hype Street. It's one of the few that doesn't have a cyberspace feel to it. In fact, I could see this one coming out of the Rush games or even Jet Set Radio. 3-6, Enjoy This World. There is a part in the middle that reminds me of Fall Guys. That's it. And 4-9, Signs. I will admit the beginning is a bit slow, but once it starts picking up, oh buddy, it turns into a goddamn mosh pit. Okie dokie, that was every soundtrack that was in the jukebox. So now let's go over some soundtracks that have a decent shot of making it in. The first two, I'll just clump them together, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. Yeah, it's really awkward not having them be a part of it, especially since there is an overabundance of green hills and chemical plants in the game. But there's actually a good reason as to why this is. Sega does not own the rights to the music of Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. They were originally composed by Masato Nakamura, so he has the rights to them. It's a little similar to that whole Sonic Origins fiasco. And now that I'm thinking about it, if they didn't get it for Origins, or even Origins Plus, then, do you really think they're gonna get it for this small thing in Frontiers? I don't know, it makes some fans happy. For Sonic 1, I think Green Hill is the obvious choice, because Green Hill, Green Hill. Spring Yard. I just like this one the most. Yeah, that's kind of it. And Starlight.
It's an impressively pleasant theme. I was very impressed with it. I quite like this one too. As for Sonic 2, we should have Chemical Plant for the same reason that Green Hill is Green Hill. This is a bit of an interesting choice. Hilltop. The open country vibes this one gives off, I think could fit well with the open environments of Frontiers. Mystic Cave is a very spoopy bop, and it also sounds like the Inspector Gadget theme. And Metropolis Zone. I don't need to explain it. This song is so fire that they gave this zone 3 acts instead of 2. I stand my case. The only other soundtrack I could feasibly see coming in is, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased, Shadow the Hedgehog. I mean, it's considered a spin-off, but they treated it like a mainline game. I mean, it's got, like, how many different themes? It's a platformer. It's on the same scale as the mainline games. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, as for the songs, I Am All of Me. It is the main theme, and a decent chunk of the soundtracks have their main theme in the jukebox. I don't see why Shadow could be any different. Digital Circuit is the original cyberspace level. I think it deserves to be added. Sky Troops is arguably the best level of the game, plus its soundtrack is empowering and majestic. I could see this working really well whenever you're flying on the, stone gargoyle thing in the, third island. Lost Impact, while far from my favorite song, I think would thematically be very fitting. Slower, somber, and serious. I think it would go with the kind of vibe that Frontiers is giving off. And Final Haunt. This is the fattest bop I have ever had the pleasure of listening to.
Also, I'm calling it before anyone else does. While it hasn't been released yet, I got a hunch in my back that Sonic Superstars would be getting 1 or 2 songs to help promote the game. By the time the 3rd update comes out, it's only a matter of time before Superstars comes out, so I think the timing is perfect to do that.
And to round everything off, here are some soundtracks that literally have 0 shot of making it into the jukebox. Actually, a couple of them that I'm about to mention did make a small appearance in the birthday playlist, but again, I really don't think that's part of the jukebox. I mean, if any of these soundtracks or more get added to, like, a supposed extra playlist that they would add for the next update, I would be perfectly happy with that. Without further ado, let's go through the soundtracks in quick succession. I would list some of the songs, but this video is a little longer than I expected it to be. First up, Sonic R. You have a Sonic game with this overly serious tone with hyper-realistic landscapes and edgy-looking enemies, and we could be exploring all of that while listening to 80s workout music. The comedy just writes itself. Sonic Rush and Sonic Rush Adventure. I'll be real, I have never played them, but I have listened to their soundtracks. Adding some pseudo Jet Set Radio music would be pretty hype. I personally would like to have Water Palace, Plant Kingdom, and Sky Babylon. The Sonic Riders series. I got nothing to say, all 3 of them rock. Plus, the first 2 have an electric feeling to them. That could go with the cyberspace stuff. Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2. I know Sega kinda pans this game nowadays, and the cheap imitation of the Genesis sound font isn't helping it much. But if we were to add 1 song from either of those 2, it should be Death Egg MK2 Act 1. It is shockingly hardcore. Rise of Lyric. Hear me out. Sonic games are usually very inclusive, no matter how bad the game they are referencing is. Like, Sonic 06 practically crippled the series, and yet it still got an entire stage dedicated to it in Generations, filled with love and respect. Plus, Frontiers has a few small similarities to Lyric, like the ancient civilization simply being called the Ancients. They also brought back that floor puzzle thing, and Styx was even mentioned in one of the cutscenes. I kinda also just want to see how the fans react to Sega simply acknowledging this game. My choice would be The Pit Inside 2. I find it very atmospheric and very relaxing. Sonic Runners. So whoever composed this soundtrack needs to chill out, okay?
This is a mobile game. You did not have to make it sound this incredible. And finally, Team Sonic Racing. It's my favorite soundtrack from the entire series. Every song is just bursting with so much energy and high-speed action. They're all just massive earworms to me. My favorites, well, honestly, I could say all of them, but favorites are Ice Mountain, Frozen Junkyard, Sky Road, and Market Street. If any of these actually make it in, that would be pretty fly. So that is everything I want to see added into the Frontiers Jukebox. Again, it's not the end of the world if none of them make it in. I just wanted to make a silly video on this topic. I mean, even if they put some of them in for another playlist for the next update, hey, I would be more than happy with that. Thank you for listening to my dumb rambling for so long. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope your week will be as vivacious as the heated comment sections that I'm going to get from not mentioning certain songs. Wait, hang on before you go. Many people have said that I have a 10 out of 10 outro. If for some reason you haven't seen it yet, I think you might be missing out on something, pal. I'll play it for you within the next second.